bit of driving there. My mother would be proud of that. Jesus Christ, couldn't hit a camel's ass down for the ride.
God's sake, I'm going to end up as grey as you here waiting for this.
What was that? What was that, your teeth?
Okay, so those that are new to the channel, we are actually in the process of taking on a restoration with our friends at the Tank Museum and with a little help from Wargaming as well, to make one of the only, well no, the only FV4005 Centaur Stage 2, which a lot of people won't have a clue what that was, and neither did I until last year when I was playing the game World of Tanks with a couple of my friends one evening, and obviously we kept getting absolutely obliterated by this giant vehicle, and Seb, who was a bit more switched on World of Tanks, been playing it for many years, obviously told us what it was and explained all about it and why it's so good.
In the 1950s, the Ministry of Supply ordered, they wanted a weapon that would be able to defeat enemy armour at 2,000 yards through at least 6 inches of armour, so all the heavy Russian stuff that was coming out. At the time, they didn't have any gun that was capable of creating it, so in the end they decided a 180mm gun firing high explosive squash head ammunition would be able to do it. This was then lated for the FV4005 project, which was a heavy tank, to mount the 183mm gun, but this was deemed through a lot of the time that it wouldn't be ready in time, so they had the idea to come up with mounting this gun on a chassis that was available at the time, and at the common British tank at the time was the Centurion, so they decided then to come up with a way of mounting the 183mm gun onto a Centurion chassis, and that's why the FV4005 exists today.
And what did they try shooting against?
Yes. So as part of the gun trials, they fired 150 rounds out the L4 gun, and they used a Conqueror with spaced armour, which is in the game we all know is the Super Conqueror, even it didn't exist. And part of this is there's quite a lot of photographs of this weapon being tested against it to demonstrate how much damage a round and impact to create a kill would be on a vehicle, depending on where they actually aimed it. And we've got a couple of photos that are, you know, widely shared them through the archives, and this is
them.
This is that.
We film again. It's not just quite as straightforward as just plonking the turret on the hull. There's a couple of things that are slightly different. Now, if we roll the footage of the World of Tanks footage that they've kindly given us, you can see on the back of the vehicle there's this great big rear ground anchor, and the reason for this is the gun was so big, when the gun fired it actually recoiled the vehicle back so much that it actually needed this ground anchor to stop it firing the vehicle back too much. So we're going to have to get that all remanufactured. I think the Tank Museum are finding the blueprints for the original specifications for that, so we're going to have that re-engineered. We're not going to do that ourselves. Tank Museum are trying to sort that for us, which would be brilliant. And also, if you come around to the front of the you've got the, what do you call it, the brace, the lay bar.
Gun crutch, isn't it?
The gun crutch is a better word, yeah. So you've got the gun crutch, which is obviously quite a substantial thing because the gun is absolutely massive. So the gun crutch is also going to have to be remanufactured because we want to get it to be as accurate as we possibly can to the original that we have the photos of here. A couple of other things that are different are the rear mudguards are slightly longer, and we've seen this before on the lightweight Centurion, I believe. Don't know why it was used on the FV4005, but it was. So I quite like the look of them. So we're going to get some of them made up as well, so it looks right. So basically, we're going to try and make it look identical to the real thing when they built it. First job, before we do anything with this, is to stay. You're too high up to jump off. Sit down. Sit. Head sit. Very well behaved.
He's very well trained.
Sit.
There we go, look
Stay.
at that.
Now stay there. Stay. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is take this gun cradle, this mantlet thing, or whatever the hell you want to call it, the spinny, it must be 4 or 5 tons worth.
Something like that, yeah, roughly.
So we're going to get the impact gun and the spanner, whip all the bolts out now, lift it off, put it on that other Mk3 hull, because we've got Mk3 hulls coming out of it, dump it over there, and then that will give us plenty of room to get inside to get all the other bits off. But I think we'll dump that over there, and then we'll wheel this in the workshop and start taking it all to bits.
Sounds like a plan.
Let's
Get on with it.
See that? That's the one I'm starting.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, got it, I've got it. Will that pull out? Will it pull out with your finger? Oh, ho, ho, that's the first one out. Now I've got 9 million more to go.
Only a couple more.
Yeah, go on. Gently. Not a lot of weight on those back wheels if you look carefully. Quite a bit of weight on the front wheels.
That wasn't your Mink trailer that I just hit, was it?
Mate, that was factory fresh.
Sorry about that. Right, so now we're in the workshop. We're going to start taking everything we can off, and you can see if you have a little look round, it's not in awful condition, but it's also not in the best of condition. Obviously anything that's been sat outside tank wise always fills up with a lot of water in the lower hull, and the common thing with Centurions, which this will have failed with all the same as the others, is the rods down there that operate the gears, the clutch and the steering will all be corroded and won't be safe to use. So they're going to all have to be taken out and replaced, which means all the floor plates will all have to be took out, a good strip down. But before we're going to start, well, before we start doing anything in that side really, we're going to take the engine and the gearbox out, and obviously that is under these louvers that I'm stood on here. They're incredibly heavy, and I mean, you can take the engine and gearbox out and leave them on, but it's a lot of lifting, and if they fall down and hit you, it's going to hurt. So I think for safety, and we can do a lot better job, well really to do a proper resto, we want to take them off and blast them.
They've got to come off to do a proper restoration.
But the only trouble with taking these off is these bolts, some of them, not all of them, but some of them are countersunk. For God knows why they did that. So you can see here, some of them stick out nice and proud. That'll come out no problem. But then these countersunk ones, that only have like a couple of mil, all they want to do, it looks like someone's already had a go at this, rounding them off. So they're going to take a lot of doing. We may have to cut them off and then re-tap it. I'm hoping we don't, because they're a real pain in the bum. But we're going to take that off, take all the louvers off, and then we'll probably start by taking the gearbox out, I think.
Yeah, I think gearbox out first would be the
easiest. And then work our way to the fuel tanks and engine. So, yeah. Time to fire up the flame, and I'll heat all these bolts up before we even try and turn them. So I shall get the gas set up now.
Cool.
So that's it for part 1 of the FV4005 project. If you do like it, please support the channel, and we'll see you in part 2.